right. Ravens. We gotta talk about this. This is serious. So, if you don't know what this is about, I am going to explain. I'm pretty sure most people already know about it because it's been constantly shared throughout Twitter. But this is something I actually didn't know about initially until yesterday. Shout out to Engraven. I actually saw the video about this, and I was surprised to see this happen. So, obviously the Ravens lost to the Browns on Saturday, and Ravens flock was very pissed about that. They want Greg Roman gone, and it feels like the Ravens are going to have to make some sort of decision involving the Greg Roman situation as a whole, because this gets crazy. Now, obviously, the fans throughout the season have been very vocal about wanting Greg Roman to be fired this season. They've been constantly harassing Eric DeCosta's wife about this situation. They've been very vocal on Twitter. They've been making these memes comparing Greg Roman to all sorts of criminals. They have been begging for this man to get fired. They've been doing everything they can. They've been incredibly vocal. The fans want this man gone. The media is starting to cover the Ravens in a new light. Before, it was all about Lamar Jackson. He was the issue. He's got to step up. He's got to do this. Now it's like, look at what Lamar's working with. Greg Roman can't do this. The weapons are that. Lamar's in a terrible situation. They're calling out Greg Roman. They're calling out the offense. They're calling out the Ravens. So the media's calling out the Ravens, and they're calling out Greg Roman. The fans want him gone. And it feels like it's reaching a boiling point. We're kind of looking at the body language and attitude of some of the players, and it seems like a lot of players don't seem happy right now. They're very frustrated with how things are going, and I personally don't blame them. And after a loss like that, in a game where you had J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards combined for nearly 200 yards, yet you only get one carry between the two of them in the fourth quarter, that is insanity. You had J.K. Dobbins average 10 yards per carry against Cleveland. You had Gus Edwards average 8 yards per carry. Between the two of them, they were averaging pretty much a first down every time they touched the rock. And yet, Greg Roman in the fourth quarter decided not to run the football. It was a 10-point game entering the fourth quarter, and you ran the football once, and you leaned on the pass game, and that was the result. People are sick and tired of Greg Roman, and it seems like they're taking it to a new level. In comes this. So, apparently Tyus Bowser, he's already deleted this, but Tyus Bowser shared a video on his IG on Saturday regarding the situation. I guess once he got back to the facility, when he walked into the facility, he saw papers, these all these flyers on the floor that were reading "Fire Greg Roman," and he recorded it. And he was like, "Well, all right then." He's walking around and he's seeing all these flyers all over the facility. And people were like, is this the Ravens facility? Is this where it's happening? And it was confirmed for the most part, this is the Ravens facility. Somebody apparently snuck there. They snuck into there and put all these flyers there. This is starting to get dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. This is starting to get dangerous. This is a problem. Fans have been incredibly vocal. And it feels like after everything that's happened, we've reached the boiling point with the Greg Roman situation. And if the Ravens don't address this and don't make a decision regarding this Greg Roman situation, things could go bad. Many of us have been very vocal about wanting Greg Roman fired. Me personally, I have come to the conclusion that the Ravens are not going to fire him, so I've stopped talking about Greg Roman being fired. But it's gotten to this point, man. It's gotten to this point. Things are not working. The offense is still an issue. The media is talking about it. The fans are talking about it. You guys keep talking about how you're going to address it. Coach Harbaugh keeps coming into these press conferences talking about how we're going to address it. We're going to fix it. We're not executing. We're going to be better. We're going to do this. And then nothing's changing. Nothing's improving. There's been no fixes. The same issues are there. The same problems are there. And it seems like it's starting to get worse. It's looking really bad. It's really getting exposed now that Lamar's not playing. Because when Lamar was there, you were finding ways to still win football games, even though the offense was the problem. It was a serious issue with Lamar, but because of Lamar's talent, most people are overlooking it and just saying, well, Lamar's got to be better. Now that there's no Lamar there to be the scapegoat, everyone's looking around this offense and saying, yeah, this is putrid. This is bad. It's not good. The receivers aren't making plays. It's looking awful. And the play calling from Greg Roman has not been good either. So it's coming to a boiling point. I don't know what they're gonna do. I really don't know what they're gonna do. Uh, Coach Harbaugh addressed the situation and said that fixing the passing game is priority number one. I don't know if people are actually going to believe what he says because you've been talking about improving this passing game and improving the offense and improving the play calling and fixing the delay of games and all these penalties, but the same issues are there. So I don't think anyone's really listening to what I'm not Greg, what Coach Harbaugh is saying at this point. I don't think anyone's listening because nothing's changing and the same issues we've had with Greg Roman are still here. Same issues we've had with his offense are still here. So I don't know. I don't know. It feels like we've reached a boiling point with the Greg Roman situation. And honestly, it feels like Roman has overstayed his welcome, and the Ravens need to make a decision, especially Harbaugh, because I have this sinking feeling that your job is tied to Greg Roman. If you choose to stay with Greg Roman for the rest of the season and it doesn't work out, you may end up being fired alongside him, especially if Steve Biscotti is sick of this. I don't know how the owner feels here. That's the whole thing. We don't know how Steve Biscotti feels because we haven't heard anything from him. But if this is what you're gonna get, especially with Lamar not having a contract, and this is what you're gonna get, the same old issues offensively, the same old problems that are costing you games, and Harbaugh continues to stick with this guy, he may end up leaving with him. So he may have a choice he has to make here. Either you get rid of Roman to save yourself, or you can go along with him. That could be it may come down to that. I do not know. Now, at the same time, while I do understand that there are issues with this team. Greg Roman seems to be the one that's the most focused on. There is a dark cloud surrounding Baltimore right now, and his name is Greg Roman because everybody is constantly talking about him. The fans, the media, it's an issue. It's not getting better. He's not going to change. Nothing's improving. So the Ravens have a decision to make: either move on from the guy or sit here and continue to have this guy do what he's doing. And if it costs you, a lot of people may be losing their jobs at the end of the season, depending on how the owner feels about this situation. I do not know, but it feels like it's coming down to that point. Now, I will say this though: we know that Greg Roman is not responsible for every single issue this team has had. Of course, you have to look at the defense when they've given up points. And of course, you have to look at the players themselves. You got to look at the other coaches. You got to look at the personnel. There are multiple things that you have to look at. There's several issues here. It's not just Greg Roman. You got to look at John Harbaugh for his decision making. You got to look at the personnel itself because at the end of the day, no matter how much we want to hold these coaches accountable for the game, the players still have to go out there and make those plays. And the receivers are constantly dropping passes. It doesn't matter if Greg Roman, has a good play call and it's successful and the guy's open. If the receiver's not making the catch, there's nothing Greg Roman could do. So we do have to hold the players accountable. So the personnel is an issue, the coaching is an issue, and it doesn't look like it's getting better, especially offensively. Defensively, they have up and down moments, but relative, I'm like considering what the defense has done so far this season, I think relatively you could look at the defense and say they're fine. They're not perfect, but they're fine. I don't think the defense is an issue at this point right now because they've been doing a good job at holding teams. The offense is a problem. The offense is a serious problem. From the play calling to the coaching to the personnel, there is an issue with this offense, and everybody can see it. And frustration is high right now, especially with the potential of being able to go to the playoffs. The frustration is high with this offense. And when there's no Lamar Jackson to hide all these issues or take the blame when things aren't working out, it becomes very apparent what the issues are. And now the media is talking about it, and everybody else is speaking on it, and the Ravens have a decision to make. So I don't know where this is going to go. Coach Harbaugh is going to address the media today at 3:30, which is an hour later than he usually addresses the media. We have no idea what he's going to talk about. Will Greg Roman be getting fired today? I don't know. Many people in the media believe it's time for him to go. They're speaking on it. The fans have been begging for him to go, but we don't know what's going to happen. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to whatever the organization feels is best for them in terms of trying to compete. If they still want to stick with Greg Roman, they'll stick with Greg Roman. Me personally, I believe the meeting's going to focus on Marcus Peters and Calais Campbell, their injury update, as well as Lamar Jackson's injury update. Will he be able to return to practice this week? And then it's going to focus in on some of the things they did wrong and how they plan to improve this following week and fix up some of these things in preparation for the game against the Falcons on Saturday. I think it's going to be basic, generic stuff. I don't think it's going to be a Greg Roman gets fired type of press conference. But if it does happen, then so be it. I think everyone will be celebrating. But me personally, based on what I'm seeing right now, we've reached the boiling point with the Greg Roman situation. And if the Ravens don't make a decision quick, it could cost them the season, and it could be a bad look, and it could mean the end of John Harbaugh in Baltimore. So it's either you or him, John. Figure out what you want to do. Press conference at 3:30 today. Let's see what happens. With that being said, that is all I've got, and I'm out of here, man. Peace.